sits only 100 feet away from the closest houses. Electrical substations transform high voltage power into lower voltages before going through residential power lines into homes. It's a big, noisy neighbor to the residents of Meadow Street, giving off high levels of electromagnetic energy which frightens even scientific researchers.
I wouldn't want to live there. I'll tell you that. I wouldn't. And I certainly wouldn't want my children to be raising their children across the street from a substation. And as a matter of fact, when my daughter was buying a house in a working class section of Cambridge, I went to look at the house, and there was a step-down transformer outside the room, I would say 3 feet from the room that the baby was going to be in. And I was absolutely opposed to her putting a kid in there.
Dr. Reba Goodman is a cell biologist at Columbia University. She is conducting research to see if electromagnetic fields can change our cells, making them more susceptible to cancer.
With electromagnetic fields, a little bit can be bad, then there can be an increase which will have no effect, then there can be a greater increase that can be very bad, and the whole problem is to find the range within which these fields have an effect at the cellular level.
Life on Meadow Street hasn't been the same since an article in the New Yorker magazine strongly suggested that electromagnetic fields from this substation might be responsible for the illnesses on Meadow Street. Jack Walston remembers Meadow Street. He grew up there, and when he married and started a family, he bought a house just down the street from his parents on Meadow Street. He blames the electric substation for the death of his entire family. His father died of a brain tumor at the age of 54. His sister died at the age of 54. And doctors removed a brain tumor from the front of Jack Walston's head.
I was 35 years old when I had that operation. At that present time, this meningioma tumor that I had was the largest in the history of Yale New Haven Hospital, larger than a large grapefruit. Like I said, I do have a reoccurrence of it.
Melissa Bullock was Jack Walston's next-door neighbor. She was a high school basketball star and straight-A student. She also developed a brain tumor at the age of 16, which required surgery and radiation, but she survived. In 1987, the local newspaper did a little investigation of its own and discovered this startling number of cancer cases, not only around the electric substation, but along the entire length of the high power lines throughout the state.
I can give you name after name of people who lived along the power lines that have died with cancer, malignancy of some type, from one street to another. Some of them were relations, some of them were friends. We, as individuals, will never be able to prove that this is what does it, but I firmly believe this has got a lot to do with it.
The electric company acknowledges that the levels of electromagnetic radiation are high at the substation itself, but that they drop off significantly